You're welcome to turn on video and join. So the idea of the session, at least from my perspective, is that I'm here to help so we can all group therapy, have the perfect presentation for our next investor pitch. So, once upon a time, we'd all go to an exponential event, stand on stage in a packed room, which now fails all the social distancing things, and pitch. Of course, those days are on hold for a while, and it's all on Zoom. So there seem to be an increasing number of pitch events. Ascension Ventures is doing one of the debut sessions. We've done one. Neil's doing them. And the question is how you can do the perfect pitch. Typically, you've got 5 minutes. So here in 5 minutes or less, I think of a few thoughts, and then we'll hand over to you and we'll critique afterwards, hopefully in the nicest possible way. So I think, firstly, the pitch is a story that you're going to tell. The story is elaborating a problem space. How are you the solution to it? And what is your traction? And then what is your ask? So you want to hook people. You want to explain what it is, because too often I see pitches where at the end of it, you have no idea what they do. You want to show growth to create the desire. And then you want to end with the ask, who I am, what am I looking for? And I've got SEIS or EIS and so on. So if you've got 5 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever time you've got, you also want people to understand as you're presenting that you're going to hit the right spot at the right time. So if you're still talking about your brother and the idea in London in an event, and you're 3 minutes into your 5-minute pitch, everyone's going to be waiting for the train wreck to happen as you get cut off at the end. So have the story in people's mind. They can see that you're going to end at the right place, right? On online events, you might be brutally cut off after 5 minutes if you're doing a round robin event or something like that. So make sure that you don't end up in an embarrassing, buzzer goes and you're cut off. Then on the presentation itself, of course, when you stand on stage, you've got the slides behind you and you need to make it look slick. So you're not trying to look at the slides as you're presenting. But online, there's a slightly different thing. In your favor, you can see the clock, you're controlling the deck. There are no technical problems with someone else's presentation and my USB stick won't work. But you've got other challenges. In particular, make sure you've got good lighting. Make sure you've got a good microphone and a good camera so that presents. You don't want a dark room where there's echo. Make sure the Wi-Fi is good. If you've got family and kids, put them on the 2 gigahertz band if you've got a dual band Wi-Fi router, and you grab the 5 gigahertz band for yourself. So when they're streaming Netflix in the background, they're not eating all your bandwidth. So sort those basics. And the next thing is often, you're telling people you're going to change the world, and the dream evaporates when you can't get your PowerPoint shown on screen. So beforehand, practice with a friend on Zoom or whatever it might be, that you're going to go from, 0 to hero beautifully. So as people hand over to you and you switch on screen share, then you've already set your PowerPoint in read mode. Be careful about going into full screen mode, because if you've got dual monitors, it'll often put it on the second monitor and you'll be going, hello, and everyone's going, where's the slide? So put it into read mode, which hides the slide sort and the tabs at the top, and then have that prepped. So as you turn on screen share, you've got it ready to go and there's no messing around. If you are running a video inside your slides, you'll usually on Zoom need to switch the sound source from your mic to the video, otherwise there'll be no sound and there's an embarrassing few minutes disappears while you do that. So practice that beforehand with a friend to get super slick on that. And that on an event where I happened to be chatting with one of the presenters beforehand, I coached them all of this, and when the event came, theirs was the only one that just went slick, full screen presentation going while everyone else was messing around. It's like, yes, success. So try and remember that. And I think that's probably, I think one other thing in general, which is on a pitch deck, I always like to have 2 or 3 versions of a pitch deck. So when you send someone a pitch deck, you want a slide deck that is self-contained. So you don't need a voice accompaniment. And you may have two variants of that, one with or without the business plan. So you can send an investor the slide deck, but only on a call will you go through the business plan with them. But when you're presenting and you're pitching, I think that your slides are going to be super simple. If you're talking and the slides behind you have got 100 words, there's a sort of dissonance between what you're trying to say and people trying to read. So for presentations, I like the slides to be really simple, bright imagery, a few big words that just bring to life the message that you've got, rather than trying to have people trying to focus on, I'm trying to listen to what you say, but I'm trying to read these 100 words. So big, bold graphic statements, lifestyle imagery. Don't use stock images, but go to something like unsplash.com, which has got Creative Commons gorgeous imagery, and then bring things to life. If you've got a few app images you want to show, don't put 5 of them on one page. Put them one each over 3 or 4 pages, so it's nice and full screen, and you can sit on the side of the screen and people can see, you know, the slide on the side or whatever it might be. Obviously on Zoom it's going to be on the side. So I think that's it from me. Dan, over to you.
Yeah, just to add to that, make sure you know your audience. Practice, practice, practice. Don't read from any of your, you don't want to be reading from your deck. You want to be complementing what you're saying, what's on the deck, as opposed to reading from the deck. And as Anthony says, less on it is far better. That allows you to maybe go off your deck a little bit as well if necessary, particularly if you're given some questions. But yeah, rehearse, know your audience. Inherently, you're in front of an audience that flounder. They flounder. They make a lot of this. So sell this to them. You've got to sell this to them. Make them think to themselves, I don't want to miss that opportunity. This could be the next Facebook. So a lot of startups come with some compelling arguments, but they don't sell and don't have sales skills. So think to yourself, what can I say which is going to make them think to themselves, that's going to make them not want to walk away from this opportunity. And most decks at this point is about getting them excited, getting them interested, getting them to the next meeting. They're not going to give you the money there and then, but they might get you to the next meeting. So don't oversell equally. So other than that, I think you're good.
Okay, and I think that's the key thing, which is you're often going to pitch many, many times, but every time you do it needs to feel for the person listening in that it's the first time. If you're not giving value to everything you're saying, they're not going to put value on it. And if it feels exactly as Dan says, like you're reading it or it's the 100th time, I just need to sort this out again, people are just going to be waiting for you to end. So you have to inspire them. And sometimes, you know, if it's a short presentation, no one's going to write a check based, other than Dragon's Den, is going to write a check based on the 5-minute pitch. What you don't know on Dragon's Den is actually about a 2-hour segment before, and that they edit down to the 5 minutes. So your goal actually is really to get the next meeting. And we did an event with 18 companies pitching to 18 investors with Need for Seed, we called it. And the gist of it was clear at the end that they got follow-ups from the investors for the ones that were interested. So, you know, your best is at the last screen, I'm raising 200K, offering SEIs, whatever it is, call me, and then look to follow up as well. Okay, enough from me. So, Neil, who's the first?
That's perfect. Thanks. Okay. Thanks very much. I'd just like to add something to this, and I think we're sort of preceding everything that's going to happen, and people are thinking, "Oh my God," about their pitches. One of my comments and pitches I have is that they try to sell the product to the investors, where they should be selling the product to the customers that they're looking for, rather than selling the investment to the investors. And I think it's a big mistake, because it's two different things. Would you agree with that, Anthony?
Yeah, I think one of the things I often see is that a pitch deck, and I'm guilty of that, is that you end up showing how clever you are and all the things that you're building, rather than why you're solving a problem. And I think that you know, you've got a challenge in your presentation. on your public website, it's clearly all about consumer messaging. Buy this toothbrush, the best toothbrush, changes toothbrushing, whatever it is. When you have a slide deck, you're going to probably try to persuade your investor. You're going to show them the TAM, the acquisition cost, the CAC, the LTV, all this other stuff. But if you're only telling them that stuff and you haven't established why anyone would want the product, then they're going to miss it. So I think that even though your pitch deck for investors is really to get investment, it should start with describing why a consumer, whatever your consumer is going to want it. Because in a sense, an investor is going to be putting on the consumer hat and going, that's an awesome toothbrush. I mean, if everyone wants that toothbrush, you guys are going to be making great business. I want in on that business. So at least the beginning of the pitch deck, at least for me, should be as if you're pitching to a consumer who would be using your product. And then you can go on to how it works and the addressable market and other things behind that.
Okay, no, I agree with that. Thank you. Right, now I've got Norman from Wise Dive at the top of my list. No other reason than that I just wrote it that way. So I'd like to introduce you. I think we'll cancel. Well, you can share your screen at any time. So Norman from Wise Dive, please take the floor.
And everyone's got 5 minutes?
Well, ideally,
okay.
I'd like to see pitches online at 3 and also at virtual at 3, which enables people to give, I think, less is more, as you know, Anthony, I've said in the past. You know, I've got a new venture called the Money Tree, and people say money doesn't grow on trees, and we believe it does. We've got trees that we think in the future will grow money.
All right.
Yeah. But I'll shut up. So Norman, please carry on.
Hi, everyone. Dear jury, investors, organizers, and other participants, thank you for accepting us to pitching training and for your valuable feedback. My name is Norman, and I'm the co-founder of Wise Drive. We are here to finally improve car maintenance experience. This idea came from my personal frustration. I changed my car and had to book an annual maintenance. Since I had no previous experience with that car brand, it took forever to search for different workshops, request, and wait for offers. Comparing them was also really difficult because the content in offers were different. When this was done, I had to book a suitable time. It was a huge hassle, even for me, who is a car enthusiast. But imagine the pain if you're an independent woman, Generation Z with the first car, or a foreigner with a language barrier. So let's be honest, today, the average car maintenance experience sucks. Car owners are not satisfied with current service providers, and most of them are already taking comparable offers from the different workshops. And they are just one side of the coin. Workshops need to create offers every minute of the day, and only 20 to 30% of these convert to actual jobs, plus no data is stored for future estimations. Most of the communication is done over the phone, which takes valuable time. Workshop methods and processes are inefficient, if I'm being modest. But it shouldn't be so painful. We have a solution for both car owners and workshops. Wise Drive automatically creates offers for comparison. When car owner picks workshops based on suitable criteria, whether it's location, rating, or price, we let them book service time instantly. We let workshops concentrate onto their sweet spots instead of fighting for any job on the market to fill the calendar. And we handle payments and ratings, therefore make the process transparent and trustworthy for both sides. We bring all car-related data and services in one place for car owners. It includes mobile app and web solution. Workshops have separate set of tools, including updated processes and key performance metrics. We solve the communication problem for both parties. Here you can see the workflow. We optimize outdated processes roughly 10 times, and there's more to come. As you can see, the standard market workflow includes many steps. Our pricing model is quite common one. We take commission from the workshop plus an annual subscription. There is a huge opportunity on the market. Our goal is to service 50 million cars and be the market leader by the end of 2027. Our minimum goal is to service 10 million cars with 200 million of annual recurring revenue. Here is our competition, which shows that there's a real problem on the market. We have had time to do research and see that both our competition and also workshops are behind with their mentality. If we are not using the opportunity right now, somebody else will. We launched our test project between COVID peaks and we learned some valuable lessons. We successfully onboarded Estonian biggest official dealerships and independent workshops. During the first months, we managed to get confirmation that car owners are happy to use such a solution and workshops are willing to pay for it. But the product is not ready for scaling yet. We also expanded our team during the pandemic. This is the roadmap for the next 2 years. We are asking 800,000 euros on 8 million valuation. And here you can see where the money will be distributed. This is the world-class team who are going to pull this off. We have it all to build a remarkable product and conquer the market crying for help. Since women convert best on our platform, we took Lazy on board as our newest team member who will provide the best customer experience. We also picked our advisors with backgrounds in automotive, tech, and marketplace industry. Thank you so much for your time, and if you're interested, here's my contact details.
No,
all right.
Norman, thanks very much.
How much time is left, Neil?
I'm not sure, Dan, I didn't count, but my comments initially were there were a few slides, and I'm sure you're going to do this. There was a couple of slides in there that just lost me. The work through thing, I just thought, I looked at it and I was like trying to work out where certain points were. But again, we're not here to knock, we're just here to comment. And to me, I got confused. Sorry, I'll let Dan carry on, and perhaps Craig as well, and also Anthony.
Dan?
I think you had the luxury probably of a bit more time, but I might have been wrong there. But I mean, you know, use it is my advice really, because there's a bit more time I think where you could have explained a little bit more about some of those slides you flew through rather quickly at the end. I thought it started really quite well though. Big picture there, exciting picture. You know, wasn't too corporate-y, wasn't too, in itself nice strap line. I thought. You know, I think throughout the whole deck you were using very few words, so and you got, which allowed you to be able to talk over the slides. So it wasn't like I had spent, a document I had to read. I thought so,
yep.
But then I think kind of from the pricing model on, you weren't explaining it enough or selling it enough. I think so. Why is that a great pricing model that everyone else uses it? Roadmap good, so but it wasn't exciting me really. You weren't saying enough over it, I don't think.
Okay.
So I'll hop in. So I think one of the joys of presenting here is you can probably see as you're presenting, which things are working and which not. So Norman, I could tell that, you even knew when you got to your advisor slide at the end, you were reading it and so on. So a few things. Firstly, nice intro, but I think your intro slightly got out of sync with your slides, because the way you were explaining the problem space, you kind of wanted to already be on the second slide. So make sure that the story you're telling matches your slides. If you are reading your slides, something is wrong. And I think when you got to the advisor one, you'd probably even in your mind could see the audience had kind of tuned out. You were just giving them more than you wanted, and you should actually have closed at that point beforehand. Next one is imagery. I think, for example, you had these dark blue backgrounds. It could have come to light with a person standing at a car forecourt or something like that with an app waiting, and the man with the exhaust, but I don't know what it is, to really get the viewer bought into it as opposed to an abstract thing. Next one is you've used a lot of exclamation marks and words like sucks and so on, which is a double-edged sword. You might get people bought into it, or you might alienate people. But if it was me, I would avoid words like sucks and focus on the positive. There's a big opportunity, or none of it. When have you last liked? So next one is bring the viewer into it, because you could have said, when last did you love your last car workshop experience or something like that, and everyone would going, not me. So how would you do that differently? So the next thing I've got is you didn't have any pictures of your app. So I think that when I see a slide deck with no pictures of an app, it just means that the person is super early stage and just hasn't built the app yet. If you had the app, you'd be showing the app, at least if you were proud of it. So had you shown pictures of people sitting there with an app in the car or whatever it is, now I see that there is something, which then takes me to the next thing, which is you've got kind of $1 billion in revenue sitting there anchored in people's mind. That's huge, right? I mean, that's bigger than British Telecom. And then you've got, 50K in workshops and you're doing 5%. So the numbers today are very small. So, and then also you've got an 8 million valuation. Now, an 8 million valuation in the UK normally means you're doing a fair amount of monthly revenue. Your valuation, once you've got revenue, might be roughly 10x annual revenue. So that might imply you're doing 60K a month in revenue, for example. But if you're not, then there would be a disparity and investors would come back later. So it sounds that, if you don't yet have an app that you're proudly showing, if I was the investor, I'd be thinking $1 million or so valuation rather than 8. So you either have to show me a lot more traction to get to the 8, or address that mismatch. Your roadmap slide had lots of roads on it, but didn't really show much. I always like roadmaps to show something that goes up. Q1 will have this. Q2, we're going to have this feature. Q3, we're going to do that. And then last thing from me, which is you didn't really talk about your go-to-market. So you've got a two-sided marketplace here. You've got consumers and you've got workshops. Are you targeting workshops and they will get their customers to use your app? Or are you targeting consumers and you'll get lots of consumers and then you go to workshops, hey, I've got an app. And that to me is the key point that is going to be the make or break of what you're doing. Either workshops are reaching out to their customer base to do your hard work for you, or you are going to force workshops to use your app because you've got all the traffic, but now you have to go and find customers, and how do you break through the catch-22? So I think you skipped what for me is the investor, the most important point. Anyway, feedback from me, but otherwise very nice presentation, nice deck, and obviously a few takeaway points.
Thanks, Anthony.
Lovely, thanks very much. If you can just stop sharing your screen. Now, where are we going to go? I think we're going to go to Charlie. Charlie Spokes.
Thanks very much. Let me just share my screen with you.
Okay, I'll turn myself off. Oh.
Let me know if you can see it all right.
Yep, no problems.
Great stuff. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. I'm Charlie Spokes, founder of Hello Solo. It's really great to meet you all. Just whilst we have a look at this, the dating industry is an enormous industry, and there's absolutely no doubt that it's growing very, very fast, and there's a lot of choice in there, and that's before singles even get to the stage where they're trying to date somebody or find somebody to date. It was reported last year that there are over 1,400 relationship finder sites in the UK alone. And that doesn't include dating services like dating coaches or profile writers. So how on earth are singles supposed to find the right product or service for them? We've created Hello Solo, and this is our solution to the dating industry. It's a B2B2C SaaS platform. like Airbnb for singles. So it will allow singles to search by location, price range, category, and find exactly what they need that fits them and fits their use case. Little preview on the technology. So you can see what we've been building. We are quite close to launch now. So the event side of our platform is due to launch on the 1st of March. And we've been running our Hello Solo hub for the past month, and we've shown good traction with that as well. As you can see, it's quite feature heavy. There's a lot of potential for listing different categories, for searching and for filtering, and everything's a very clear layout. So you can see analytics dashboards and search your events, products and services very easily. From a singles perspective, what we've done is we've built it with them in mind. We want them to be able to easily search events, products and services. We want them to be able to trust what they're seeing. So there are ratings on every business. As soon as somebody goes to an event or buys a product or service from a business, they can rate it. It's an easy to use platform. One of the big problems in the dating industry is that there's a lot of slightly seedy looking websites, and we are trying to counter that and make sure that it's appealing to the people who are going to be using it. Obviously, there's plenty of filters, so you can personalize the search. And then we have the additional ability to match people. If you go to a dating event, you can match with the people who are at the same event with you and chat to them within the platform. On the business side of things, we've used our own experience in the dating industry. We've been in it for 4 years now to develop features that solve the pain points that we've come across. And we've also got industry feedback from experts within the dating industry as well. We've built a unique ticketing algorithm so that when you list tickets for a straight event, you can ensure that your ratio stays within a 60-40 split rather than ending up with a dating event with 18 men and 2 women at it. It's not going to be that fun for anybody. Our timing. You might think that a platform that's based around events, launching in the middle of a COVID global pandemic is probably quite bad timing. We actually disagree with that. We think this is such a unique time to be launching a product. There is going to be an awfully big surge in demand from singles who have been through a year of lockdowns, and it's been very, very hard on them, particularly to meet new people. What about us? Well, we were founded in 2017 and we started life as My Friend Charlie. So people could come to one of our events and say, oh yeah, we met wine tasting with My Friend Charlie, and nobody's any the wiser that it's a dating company. There is still stigma surrounding that. It is moving away from it, and online dating has obviously changed that game quite significantly. We have a database of 4,500 users, and we run events, everything from axe throwing to wine tasting. So there's a lot of variety. And we crowdfunded in 2019. We got 86,000 from 131 investors. And we used that money to promote our marketing, to promote our product, but also to build the technology for Hello Solo, based on the feedback that we were getting on our existing technology and the success we had with that. Events traction for My Friend Charlie, as you can see, was going exceptionally well until COVID hit, but we expect to pick right back up where we left off with this on the event side, but also have the added bonus of having the Hello Solo platform where everybody who runs singles events in the UK has the potential to list their event on our platform. Obviously, we've got a two-sided market. We've got the businesses, which are SMEs within the dating industry, but also singles of all ages, genders, and sexual orientations. And particularly older daters or daters in the LGBTQ+ community are particularly underrepresented by events, products, and services in the industry. Our aim is to bring all of that together to make a single, easy place for singles to come and search. Market size is obviously huge. Not only are there 17.8 million singles in the UK, we're aiming for 1 million singles over the next 3 years, but the dating industry is predicted to be worth 225 million by 2025. Our competitor landscape, So we're bringing together the best of what exists in the event platforms, for example, Design My Night, Time Out, and Eventbrite, but putting a dating industry spin on it and providing the features that don't exist that currently as a dating industry business you have to find workarounds for. Dating directories, again, these fall under the category of not brilliant tech, not particularly good looking websites, and a slightly awkward search functionality. So we're changing that as well. And we're allowing dating products and services and dating events to list on our site. Our timelines, beta audience growth we've got at the moment. As I said, we've launched the listings hub and we're about to launch the events platform. At the moment, it's costing us £25 to get a B2B user acquisition. We obviously have an enormous database of 4,500 singles. So when the first events go live, we're ready to kickstart that launch. And we're predicting that we will break even in December 2022. Revenue streams. We've built a robust revenue model. We've got plenty of different avenues that we can generate revenue from, which puts us in a really strong position. Commission on ticket sales, we're going to take 15% from every ticket that we sell on our platform, and we're going to charge businesses £20 to promote their event for a 24-hour period, which will allow it to show up on the homepage of Hello Solo. We're also doing a subscription model, which is based on a freemium model. So clients, business clients, can either have a free sign up and pay 15%, they can pay £40 a month and it reduces their commission down to 7.5%, or they can pay £99 a month and it reduces their commission to 5%. Sponsorship and strategic partnerships is something that we started looking into with my friend Charlie and had a bit of traction with. We had some advertising done from Channel 4 who wanted to work with us on a couple of events. We also have the My Friend Charlie Events Commission, and we have the ability, and these are two potential revenue streams, to either franchise My Friend Charlie events or to white label the Hello Solo technology out. Our projections over the next 5 years are fairly healthy. Again, as I mentioned, we've got an enormous market that's predicted to be worth 225 million by 2025. And we are looking to capture, as I said, 1 million of those users over the next 3 years and generate our revenue through them. We're raising £250,000. Our pre-money valuation is 2.5 million with EIS assurance received. We've built most of the technology already. So the money, the 22% that we're going to spend on technology is for developing new features based on customer feedback, 45% on the marketing. We've partnered with a fantastic company to do our marketing. It's less expensive than getting a CMO in and lots of freelancers. And obviously key hires, we're looking for people to run the operations side of things alongside myself, just to make sure that we can get everything up and running as smoothly as possible and that our focus is on customer service. The team, I'm obviously the founder. On the event side of things, we've got Georgie, Sophie and Sean. As our commercial and event advisors, we've got Craig and Bags, between them an enormous wealth of experience. And we've been lucky enough to partner with Studio Graphene to build our technology. We have a 5-year commitment from them, but they've taken equity in Hello Solo in exchange for reducing the cost of the build for us because they believe so much in what we're doing. In summary, we've got the industry know-how, we've already got traction, we've got the technological advantage, and we're the first to market. So if you've got any questions, I'd love to hear them. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie. Can I just bring in Anthony here? Because I think this is an interesting point on, sorry, turn my video back on actual raises against pre-money and post-money. Anthony, would you like to comment on that? Because I think it's quite important. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I thought that the valuation wasn't dramatically at odds with the rest of the presentation. I think the only thing is when you said you're raising 250k on a 2.5 mil pre-money, yeah, so long as everyone's aware, the investors will get 9.09% equity rather than 10% equity, because that's often a common mistake people make. But so long as you know that, I didn't see any disparity there.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Dan, any comments?
Thought it was a great pitch, fantastic pitch overall.
There you go.
It was a wonderful
Thanks,
pitch. I'm tempted to go. The only, if you want, it's easy for me to go through some of the weaknesses than the highlights. But yeah, there's several things about that, as well as being a great pitch. It was memorable. That deck was memorable. It was different. It had bright colors. You know, if you're going to be a professional investor, you're going to see lots of decks at the end. In the end of the day, you've got to make a decision who you're going to put your money in at the end of the day. You'll remember that. It's nice branding. It's not complicated at the end of the day. And you came across very affable and likable, you know, but nonetheless with lots of know-how. I thought was great. You know, lots of stats in there. You know, I'd love to know how you calculate the lifetime value. I've done it before. It's ever so hard. So, but given you've got so little data pre-launch, it'd be very interesting. The only thing, you were B2B to C, and I kind of clocked what I was about, but I had to kind of initially think, well, hang on, what's going on here? It would have been maybe good if you gave, and maybe that was just me being a little not so sharp, hadn't had my first cup of coffee of the day. Maybe you had to kind of maybe explain, give a scenario. You know, for example, you could have said, you know, we are selling to working with events, you know, with the event side, the B side, or the, you know, and you know, to promote that whole kind of C side and stuff, and maybe explain it. So I think it would have been just so people go, okay, I get it. I like the preview. I thought that was very useful. And maybe you could have talked more about that actually. You know, you gone through some of the as you got the preview, given some examples of some of what it does and what it doesn't do. But then again, you did have a lot of content at the end of the day. But yeah, I thought your tone of voice was really engaging, and I think your audience certainly, you know, will be engaged in it. And I think you kind of definitely you will get investors. There'll be a group of investors who will say, I would like to speak to Charlie, know a little bit more, you know, which is your next meeting opportunity. But yeah, congratulations.
Thanks very much, Dan. Appreciate that.
So if I can hop in, I largely echo what Dan has suggested. I think the tone and the quiet confidence indicates somebody who knows what they're talking about. They've been there and so on. I thought you started, you know, slightly slow and then really got into it. I think to echo what Dan had said, I think to me, there was this cognitive dissonance between dating, where I'm expecting something like a Tinder style swipe to X, and then it started talking about B2B and B2B2C and B2C. It's like, what's happening? I need to wait for chapter 3 of the story to resolve what happened. There's a body here. Who done it? So I think you could have explained much more simply by showing pictures of the app, that you're meeting this person at this event, or you're browsing events, and then people wouldn't need to work it out. It would become clear. I think, by the way, your mic is picking up the bangle jangles, and so lose the bangles. I think as you're talking about events, of course, the elephant in the room was COVID, and just as everyone's thinking, they're in denial, there's COVID, there are no events, you then switch to the next slide, which then address that. So I think, you know, I've seen, by the way, a company raise $1 million or more on a purely events-based model, VR events, because the investors know that people will come back again in a matter of months, or however many months it is. So there's no problem raising for the future. But then you have to very clearly signpost it, ideally before people start worrying that you haven't been reading the news for a while. Then I think the minor thing, so loved your branding, loved the, you know, beautiful slides and so on. And obviously you talk about the branding and the company using, which, you know, shows there nicely. I think the one where you've got the little squiggles, the squiggles are really detracting, they're making it hard to read. If you just had a few words, I would read the words. If you've got the squiggles, I'm now trying to, you know, figure out what that's going on. I think separately, and it doesn't necessarily need to be addressed here, but clearly one of the things an investor is going to be asking is, where does my friend Charlie and where does Hello Solo come into it? Is the one a separate venture? Is it rebranding the next venture? Do you have a license for the other one? None of us know this. So either, I would suggest, explain a bit more, and in your few minutes you don't really have to do that, but otherwise it's the elephant in the room. Either mention less about my friend Charlie, or explain a bit more about how the one leads to the other and my investment is in the right entity. But otherwise, really nice presentation.
Awesome, thank you.
Charlie, thanks very much. It was great. We'll move on now. Georgina, are you there, sir? Or madam? I'm sorry, excuse me.
I am. Hello, I'll share my screen.
Hi. Now, you're known to us, and I think Georgina's an absolute classic example of going forward, learning, pitching, and everything else. And I know Anthony knows Georgina, and I think so does Dan. So Georgina, please take the stage.
Okay. Hello, I'm Georgina. I'm the CEO and founder of My Shoots. My Shoots is an app which will be connecting the shooting community and an industry in a way that has never been done before. So it'll be a complete game changer for shooting sports. I was a sales agent for shooting and hunting clothes, and when I was signed up, I was asked to learn inside out the industry. And it was quite a privileged position to be in, because I could see from an outsider's perspective quite a lot of the problems and challenges the industry was facing. I could see, as being the sales agent, it was a very inefficient route to market. I could see that shoots couldn't privately organise their shoots and keep their anonymity for their clients, who are quite often high net worth individuals. I could see that shoots all wanted to have their own app, but it's not economical to go out and have your own app built. And it's very labour intensive for either the shoot captain or the gamekeeper to organise the shoot and connect his guns, shoots, beasts and picker-uppers. I could see from being a sales agent that brands and businesses weren't being able to target their ideal customer, and that there's a serious game meat wastage problem. Shoots are wanting an all-in-one platform to schedule their shoot, and new fun distribution channels are wanted by brands and businesses, because retail was already dying before COVID, but it's been accelerated due to COVID. The solution was to create an app for shoot captains to connect with their guns, beaters and picker-uppers. It will be that you purchase a yearly license in the App Store, and I want the shoots to be able to choose to put 10% of the profit of the yearly license into conservation charity of their choice. Either the shoot will do their own admin at a cost of £250 for the year, or My Shoots admin will do the admin for them at £500 for the year. This is very cost effective, because if they were going out to do their own app, it would cost them £20,000. You'd have the template then to set up your shoot, add the details about the shoot, add your own videos and pictures. At this point, you add your guns, your beaters and picker-uppers. You're allowed to be able to choose your profile to be private, which is quite important if you're a celebrity going out shooting, want to be part of the platform, but can stay hidden behind the screens. The shoot can also decide to be hidden completely. So if they're an exclusive shoot charging £8,000 to £10,000 per day, not on any other social media currently, they would want to be hidden and shoot only. If they're a farm shoot already out on Instagram, probably quite happy to be app only. I would want to be able to have a Google route for where the shoot is. I want to be able to add the nearest restaurant, pub and hotel, and the nearest gun shop to the shoot. Because I want to have the ethics of trying to encourage people to eat what they're shooting, to try and sort out the landfill of the wastage of the game meat. I want these venues to be selling the meat, as long as it's British Game Alliance assured, in those venues for the nearest shoot. This page is really important to the international clients coming into the UK. There's 20,000 international people that we serve, and once they've purchased their shoot, even if they're in England, they get text the app, and then they can see all where to be booking their hotel, pub and restaurant. The gun shop is also really important, more for the international clients who, when they've landed in the UK, come with no kit, no gun. So when they get into the taxi or their car, they can go straight to the gun shop to be kitted out for their trip. because I don't want to have traditional advertising going through the app, because the clientele that I'm aiming at won't want the word advertising, I want to be able to encourage the brands to sponsor the shoots. And again, a percentage of the profits of that sponsorship goes to the estate's own conservation work. I also want to run competitions. So, for example, if it was Land Rover wanting to sponsor a shoot, they might request the 5 captains to come shoot forward if you want your shoot sponsored. You would have an action button in the shoot to take part in the competition. If it's Barber, they might be giving out, when I was a sales agent, my most expensive coat that I was selling was £1,000. And the person I would want to sell that coat to would be very different to the person I'd be selling a £250 coat to. So through the platform, I can choose which shoots, which guns, which beaters, which picker-uppers. And I can also, so the idea is also to try and encourage people to go to the brand's own online stores, which is where the brands are struggling at the moment. The total addressable market in the UK and the US is 21 billion. The serviceable addressable market, if I was to get 5% of that market, is 1 billion. That is only for the UK and the US. The rest of the world is just as huge for Asia, Africa, the Nordic countries. Russia's massive. My cost to acquire a B2C customer is somewhere between £7.50 and £12.50, with a life expectancy of £90 over an 18-month period. It's more difficult to work out the cost to acquire the customers for the shoots, for the B2B. But there's nobody else in the market doing what I'm trying to do, and I'd be first to market. And once the shoots can see the benefit of some funds going towards their own conservation, I think that there would be a lifetime value for the shoots to have the app for a 3 to 5+ year period. I'm predicting that my first year's revenue would be 100k, rising to 8 million in my 5th year, giving a profit of 2.2 million. So my revenue streams would be yearly license to the shoots. The brands would be able to sponsor shoots and run competitions. And in the 2nd year, I plan on having a public subscription as well, monthly subscription. I've already got in the background the magazine publication that I can put into that public subscription. My route to market would be my ambassadors, which I know already, or they all are. They're key people within the industry, and they would make it go viral immediately. I know my marketing and PR agent I'd be using already, all set up. I'll be doing direct selling, word of mouth, and brand partnerships. I plan to exit with acquisition via trade sale or IPO. My traction of what I've achieved to date is I've got investor ready through Innovate UK funding with market research, my business plan sorted, IP audits done by being financed by the IP office. I have a certified patent and copyright on my wireframes. I have a non-coded prototype, and I own the IP to my logo and domain. I'm completely ready to build my MVP. My team is myself, my CTO, and my tech partner, and I have got a team of on-demand industry advisors. My ask is 150k for 10% equity. I am set up on SeedLegals with SEIS, CIS assurance in place. Thank you. Have any questions for me?
Georgina, let me turn my video on. Sorry, hopefully it's come back on. Great, thanks very much. I'd like to talk to the guys who've seen over the months Georgina's pitch change. I think Dan's certainly one, and so is Anthony. I thought that was great.
Good.
Your confidence is just growing and growing and growing, and that's what it's all about.
Thank you. To
be able to, in these times, get on a Zoom meeting and also then probably stand up in front of a room. But yeah, I thought your improvement, your confidence is just fantastic.
Good.
I don't know, Anthony or Dan, would you like to comment?
So, yeah, you've got a story there. You start with story, which is compared to how you used to start, which is an improvement. Mm-hmm. You might want to think about a story for as you progress through the rest of the deck. Because it kind of stops off after a while.
Fair enough. Yeah.
your slides with all the pictures on.
Mhm.
It's good that you got, I like to see, what the product looks like. So I think that's really good.
Yeah.
But I had no idea when you were talking which particular picture I should have been looking at any one time.
No.
Related to.
I can do that more, but because I knew that Neil, in a 5-minute pitch, I've worked out I can do the detail, but for the 3-minute pitch, it has to be quicker.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I mean,
getting that balance.
I kind of just felt all those pictures. Maybe you should have split them over 2 slides or something.
Okay. Yep.
So before I cut you down any further, I'll pass to Anthony and chip in later. 'Cause I could,
Okay.
yeah. So.
All right. So hi, Georgina. So to sound a bit like Simon Cowell's, like, but wow. So that's been an amazing, improvement step by step, as we've seen each time you're pitching. And certainly at the start, it was, spot on. You were confident, you established, you knew your target market, and this was a passion for you, and you were building something. I think it sort of petered out somewhat as you get into the detail, and I think the start was, as I said, perfect. Then I think when you got into the apps, as the pictures of the app, really, I would be saying, put those over 4 or 5, one slide, one app picture per slide. Because I think what happened is people saw the static set of 5 things, and then what you were talking about didn't match what was on screen. Whereas if you put it over 5 slides, you could say, step 1, the app does this. Step 2, there's a step 3. This is where Land Rover comes in and branding. And then people see it, and it gets room to breathe, and you get to match your presentation and story with the imagery. I think when we got to the end bit on the P&L, you could have probably lost 2/3 of the wording and messaging. This is the addressable market. That the 21 billion or so sounds bigger than one might expect. But then when on the P&L slide, there's quite a lot of detail. Maybe you didn't need to show the profit and loss each year, just the revenue potential, and reduce some of the other points so that it jumps out and is bigger and bolder. I think perhaps the missing bit is, as you start presenting this, in my mind, which you resolve later, but maybe you resolve it sooner, is you're thinking shooting sounds like a niche, small thing. So maybe
I didn't tell you. I forgot to say my global bit, my vertical bit. Yeah, okay.
Exactly, but you might say, shooting is much bigger, the industry than I imagine. In the UK alone, it's whatever size per year, but it's got a fundamental problem. And then I go, oh, it's bigger. I think the other thing is, in your audience, you're going to have people with different views on shooting, and so you might want to pick out and leverage the sustainable. It's not just Prince Charles shooting, whatever he shoots or whatever. There are however many deer that are decimating forests, and it's a way to control whatever it might be, so that for the people who are not shooting fans, they're not kind of turned off or alienated as you're talking. So otherwise, amazing growth and on story and presentation on your side.
Yeah, thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you.
My notes have got maybe to split your financial slide into 2, because one is your financials, but the other is your exit strategy, and so, and which is almost into your kind of into another space, really.
Okay.
Have you thought about what your profile of your investor looks like? Because I was thinking this through the deck.
Yeah, in my dream world, yes. But yeah, I've got, yes.
Well, I'll start with a dream world.
Ideally, it would be a couple of the people interested already on that pitch deck. It would be a couple of people from the shooting community, a gun manufacturer. I've got one of the brokers that I don't really want to be dealing with a broker necessarily, but they're all chefs. So obviously it can be monetized for hotels. All the hospitality can be coming in to be monetized as well. So there's many options.
I think that is it's good that you've done that, because I think your traditional Shoreditch community might misunderstand the whole kind of shooting area.
The main game meat distributors in the country I get interested in investing. Everybody's interested in investing when I get myself over this bit. Everybody's waiting for me to get this bit over with.
There's always people waiting for you to get over the next bit. So don't worry about that.
Yeah. But that's the challenge.
Great improvement.
Thank you.
Sorry, Georgina, thanks very much indeed. Again, you can look at the concepts that Range Rover do with the safes in the back of the cars for guns and such like. If you need an introduction to Purdy or something like that, I can do that. One of my best mates is involved there.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's just seen who Holland and Holland were bought out by yesterday.
Well, Chanel, yeah.
No, but Beretta bought them.
Oh, did they? I thought they were originally Chanel or something.
No, Beretta bought them. So.
Oh, did they?
That's huge.
Right. Well, I know a guy at Holland and Holland as well, but
they're the ones that should be investing.
Well, let's have a chat separately on that one.
Yeah.
And again, for people who don't know, I mean, some of these guns go on average for like 50, 60 grand up to 600, 700 plus. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Big money.
You know, you put a Holland and Holland shotgun in the back of a Range Rover, it's worth 5 times more than the bloody Range Rover.
And that's the bigger picture. There's lots in my head that's not been spoken about on here. So the picture.
No, that's fine. That's just my thoughts. But so I do know a few guys there.
Yeah.
Right, Georgina, thanks very much. Now we're going to do Jules. I think this is the last one for today. So Jules.
Yeah, hi. Just share my screen.
Ballin. Where are you, sir? I'll shut up.
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. Great. There we go.
All right, thank you. Hi, I'm Jules, and I'm going to introduce you to All In, an application for all of your social planning. So I'm a social organizer by heart. I've always been the guy that sets up the event at the beginning and then is left with the spreadsheet working out the costs at the end. I'm a football coach. I've got children in many sports clubs and teams, as are my wife and I. And we find that most organizations still takes place through chat groups, and everyone finds it frustrating. There's lots of people dropping in, dropping out. It's hard to keep track of where you're meant to be as information gets lost in the thread. And if you're bringing anything, organizing dates means back and forth. And then there's invariably always some cost elements. So it's difficult to keep track of who owes what and who's paid. And when it comes to payment, that's often handled separately as well. So the solution is All In, a one-stop solution for planning all of your events and managing your activities with your friends. So you have the chat, you have all of the preferences and information about an event held separately, easy date matching to find the best date, a simple way of capturing and tracking and splitting all your costs, and an ability to pay the bills back directly through the app as well. So as we go through this COVID crisis and we start to address the vaccines and confidence regrows and people start to get out again, let's imagine a world where you can go on a weekend to Europe. So if you've ever done that before, it's not the easiest of things, but All In makes that easy. You create the event, you invite your friends. That will then create an event within the application with the multiple dates you've offered. Your friends can then look at those, compare them against the dates in their calendars, and then mark their availability. The organizer can then look at the best date for everyone and create a single event within the app that is separate from the chat area, telling you where you're going to be going, when, what to bring, who's coming. And then crucially, as you go through the weekend, any costs that need to be added, people can add in as they go and who they've been split between, so that when it comes to sorting the bill, All In works that out for you, allowing you to record payments outside the app or to pay through our open banking payment partner, EcoSpend, which makes paying really simple in just a few taps. And the idea is to make it all easy so that you can enjoy yourself and start planning for the next event as soon as you can. So we launched our MVP in September, which we saw, despite all the introduction of the restrictions in the UK, we saw a 19% month-on-month take-up with usage of the app and great responses from our user groups. We're targeting the UK sports market initially and students, societies, as well as the confidence grows and people start to travel more, looking at weekends away, such as stag groups, hen groups. We're also looking to disrupt some of the major players that you can see on the right-hand side. And why do we think we can do that? Because whilst each of those applications is great at what they do as part of their component parts, none of them bring together this focus on all the things you need for planning from a planning and cost point of view, like All In does. It's a freemium model, so everyone will be able to use All In for free, but the really cool stuff will be there for the premium users. And in our interviews, we've targeted the organizers within a group, and the figures we can see on screen are what they have come as an average of what they've said they would be prepared to pay for an app that gives them this functionality, not only because it makes their lives easier, but also in a lot of instances, it ensures they will get money back where they normally would give up trying to chase for it from other people within the group. For our go-to-market, we're going to carry on growing with our existing channels, working with our partner Invade that has got over 700 influencers at universities across the UK. My background is management consultancy, specialising in the delivery of software projects as part of small teams to dedicated users, supported by my CTO, Rhett, who's an expert in software delivery and development, and a team of advisors that have a wealth of experience in business development, growth, and specialists in internet and application startup. We're looking for 250K for our pre-seed round to give us 18 months of runway, which will allow us to optimize our product and grow to 10,000 paying customers and really allow us to kick on from there. Thank you for your time.
Jules, thanks very much indeed. That's the sort of pitches I like, short and sweet, straight to the point. I think as you look at pitches that I do every single day, and Dan does, and Anthony does, the better and the less you can say is the better, because it encourages questions. So let's just see what I don't know, Anthony has to say, or Dan, whoever wants to flick in first.
I'll hop in first. So Jules, really slick presentation, really nice. I think you saw probably yourself as you got to the last few, you started rushing them, and the first ones were with passion, you're showing it, but at the end it's like, we're doing this, you wanted to complete it, and the audience can detect that. So
I was trying to get to, I was trying to get under 4 minutes.
Yeah, but of course that shows through. So cut the cloth to fit, and you know, lose a couple of slides or whatever is needed. Can your app sort my calendar? I mean, if you can get me, you might actually, you know, riff on the Calendly of events, them having raised it a $3 bill valuation. So maybe there's a Calendly piece there. I like, by the way, the bit about the founders being software delivery business, because very often you hear the founders are, you know, passionate about a particular domain, but the investors will need confidence to know that they can deliver it. Whereas here you've shown you come from the software delivery business, so we have a high expectation that your software will ship and you'll be able to put the team together and build it. So that's a vote of confidence, and so good to mention. I like the fact that you know, showed the competition and showed the holistic piece and showed growth. So I think altogether was a nice polished piece. I could probably would have liked to see a bit, oh, sorry, one last thing, which is your interactive pop-up thing. We're looking at the blank screens first going, what's going to happen here? Okay. Has the presentation not worked? What happened to the graphics? And then as the toaster thing started popping up, it's like, oh, this is actually quite cool. It's a bit novel, but definitely a novel take on the, I'm going to have, you know, a series of slides. So I thought that actually worked really, really well, particularly since I was wondering, has something gone wrong here? And then you showed actually it wasn't. So very nice presentation.
Well, thank you. So on that note, you leave the blank screens there for people to wander rather than have them appear as part of it.
I don't know. I was wondering, you know, you got my heart pounding there. There's something going wrong, and then you showed that there wasn't. And I don't know if it was better to do it that way. You might have not had the phones showing in that space and then the phones popping up, so that we weren't thinking something's gone wrong. But you know, you might A/B test, not A/B test because it sounds very complicated. But you might try a different one and see what people think. Yep. Okay. Cool. Nice.
Thank
Dan.
you.
Yeah, I mean, at the end, you really did feel like you just didn't want to be there at the moment. You know, you'd rushed. You know, if you want better, you spend 10 seconds more and overrun, and leave the audience with a compelling reason, you know, to buy the product, for instance, or invest in the product, than just make it feel as if. I mean, it came across as if you hadn't practiced that last part more than anything else, actually. So I think it just sort of went wrong from the team slide onwards, really.
Okay, thank you.
All right. One other comment, by the way, is that, you know, All In is not that SEOable. So I think big URL and where we can get it. And I think if you've got, you know, if you pre-launch, then obviously there's nowhere else people can go. But one of the measures that I see is, you know, if you're looking at booking.com, they don't tell you very much about what they're doing. They just go, where do you want to go today? So, you know, if you could have the app, the Android and Google and Apple App Store download logos, so that people know, oh, I can get it today. That takes you from the believability gap to it's a, you know, it's a dream to it's there. So if it is available, end with the URL, get it now, you know, download here or whatever. And then you also solve the problem, which is what is the domain. And by the way, that was the last comment on my side, is when it started, you don't have your product or company name on the slides. So the very first slide, I was going, put your name right there. Then we have imprinted in our minds that, you know, All In is the solution to all of these things.
Brilliant. All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks, folks. We have one more, Ollie, who's just joined us late, but that's okay. Ollie, I'll put you on in a second. I'd just like to lead everybody again to our events page. I'll pop it in the chat, but in conjunction with Anthony from SeedLegals and also Dan from Ideas Crucible and ourselves, we hold a how to get pitch event, or sorry, how to raise capital for your company. These are very, very popular. The input that startups get and everything else is fantastic. I think last month we had 88 companies attend. We're holding them once a month. So what we're doing is practice your pitch. Then we're doing the capital raising workshop, what you need to do and understand SEI, SEIS, understand the mind of investors rather than just pitching to them. And then we hold our actual pitch event. So we'll encourage everybody to, again, the workshop is free. So we'll encourage everybody to join those. And I know Anthony and Dan and ourselves promote those. And as I say, we normally have 80 plus companies come to that event. And the feedback we have from them is absolutely fantastic. It's like, wow, you know, thank you so much. So we'll encourage everybody to join those as well. We're here to help. For our actual pitch events, we charge £100 for virtual pitch. We normally have 70 plus angel investors at all our events. So we're not trying to charge a fortune. We're just trying to help startups. So just to finish off now, Ollie, if you're there, I think from All In.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah,
I'll let you take the stage. Give it 3 minutes, see what you can do.
3 minutes. Well, that's almost 50% less than what I was planning for. So,
well, there you go.
Let me see what I can do. Let me see what I can do on the spot, shall we? So, with a bit of luck, you can see my screen.
Yes.
Tremendous. Great. So, firstly, I would like to introduce YesRef, the easy way to find referees. I am the co-founder of YesRef. If I can find the way to skip the slides, there we go. So as a referee myself since 2005, I've experienced the pain points in finding referees, both being a referee and trying to connect sports club to referees. It all comes from a personal network. As you can see, there are weekly games that take place in football every single week. There is over £1.2 million transacted in referees' fees, and the volume of time that people waste trying to find referees is 5,000 plus. It's exponential, and the pain points are simple, really. Unless you know someone who is facilitating games, or unless you know what the challenges are, it's very difficult to go out and get more games. There is no single platform that offers you the transparency to understand where to go and referee. In addition to this, as we move slowly out of the COVID world, I hope, cash is becoming less and less. Referees are typically paid cash in hand, and they're wanting to come out of that world and get paid digitally. If you think about the process from a club who's a volunteer, they have to go into their bank, add a new payee, and potentially do that 3 or 4 times, depending on how many referees on that day. And then they have to repeat that process every week because the referee is different every week. There's no single platform for referees to get paid. So our solution is a disruptive approach and connect sports providers with referees. We provide them with a live games list so they can find their games that are bespoke to their preferences. We offer them a really simple and easy way to receive payments. That's for a sports club to pay and for a referee to be paid through open banking technology, which has really made this possible. And we've made this so simple so that in a click, a sports club can access a referee, a network of referees very quickly. So we've already built our product. We've been out into the market when the world allowed us to play football. And we had some really exciting traction in the Southwest where we're currently based. So we had a league sign up, made it mandatory for all of their clubs to pay through the platform and all their referees. Sports clubs in pre-season loved the ability to find referees. And all of a sudden referees are like, well, all I need to do is look at my phone to find a game. It's really, really dead simple for them. So in terms of the revenue model, dead simple. They pay a small fee for the privilege of finding and paying referees, and the referees pay a small fee to receive the game, if you like, through the transaction. And I will just leave you with this slide and finish my 3 minutes here, because the opportunity is obviously worldwide. We know sports is played all over the world. Our target is the UK market and football specifically. I shall leave it there because my reminder of 3 minutes is pinging me right now. So hopefully that was a little teaser for you.
Ollie, thank you very much indeed. I do think on hopefully things come back. Pitch events that we do should be a teaser, and they should encourage questions afterwards. And I think Anthony and also Dan made a point earlier that you're not going to raise money off a 3 or 4 minute pitch at an event. You're going to incite interest to whatever you're trying to do. And I think that's important to understand. Now, we're going to close this up soon. So Dan and Anthony, if you're there.
Great colourful slides, by the way. I thought, yeah, great slides, great marketing. You've obviously spent some time on them. I thought they were engaging, kind of, it's big business referees. I think there's a lot of. I like the fact, by the way, you stated the problem in pounds and pence as well as in time, to really for people who think it's not much of a problem. It's just a bunch of people playing on a Saturday afternoon kind of thing. Makes people realize the scale of the problem. I thought that was quite good, and the fact you got a good validation there as well was really good as well.
Thank you.
All right, so hey Ollie, so thank you. I think you rose to the challenge of the shorter time beautifully, and actually it's often a good example of less is more, because in a sense forcing the earlier cutoff left it sort of maybe beautifully targeted. So a couple of things. One, you might want to look, can you do any better lighting, because it's particularly on a Zoom thing with other people, and a screen share, you're sitting in a small rectangle and it's actually very difficult to see your face. So if you get a desk light or something like that, if you're doing it frequently, that would be good. I think as Dan said, you obviously know your market, it's a passion for you. That's fantastic. To me, it seems the market opportunity is small, and that's the key challenge. So you've shown that 60 million a year in the UK is spent on referees. So I think if the total addressable market in the UK is 60 million, and you may get some fraction of that, that puts an upper limit on the revenue. And that means that a few things. Number one, either you should be focusing that it's not just the revenue, there's a network that goes much beyond it. You're going to monetize much beyond. So as soon as you're showing that 60 million is spent a year on referees, I'm thinking any investor would be looking at that as the total addressable market. But in most cases, you're looking at an addressable market of 10 to 100x that for an investor to see it as a big opportunity. And often what you'll hear from investors, and here's the 101 for everyone on this, about the difference between what a founder wants and an investor wants. So as a founder, if you've got an addressable market of 60 million and you can be doing 6 million a year in revenue, that's awesome, right? You've got a great team, you've got a great income. Most shops would be, desirous incredibly to get there. But for an investor, what they're looking to do is they raise a big pot of money from LPs, limited partners. They raise 100 million. They bet on a bunch of companies. 2/3 of those bets go nowhere, and one of them needs to what's called return the fund. So if you ever get to talk to a VC when you're raising a bit more later, they're going to be going, will your exit be hundreds of millions or $1 billion plus? And if not, it's just not us. So at SeedLegals, we raised money from Index Ventures, and they went, you have to be a unicorn, otherwise we're just not interested. It's like, if I get to my wife and say, we've had an exit for 50 million pounds and I've got 1/3 of the stock, she's not going to go, well, that was a real waste of your life over the last few years. She's going to be going, that's awesome. But for Index, it's a giant fail. So what you need to then bear in mind is the delta between, on the one hand, success for you, which is amazing business. Then if you're raising with angel investor money, for angels, they might be looking for a 3 to 5 times return in a few years and get their SEIS. So if they can invest 20K and get back 50 with a reasonable degree of assurance and get that capital gains tax-free and write off the amount, it's a win for them. So you may find that that works nicely for angels, but then you're possibly going to bump into this glass ceiling where funds are going to need to see a much bigger story. And there, the $16 billion global is good, but UK 60 mil out of 16 billion, where does that doesn't seem to be right. You'd expect UK to be slightly bigger proportionately. So you're probably also jumping from, this is just about football, to refs for all sorts of things. And maybe those were the missing slides at the end. So my take is, in summary, you know your market, you've shown that you've got something for that. Obviously, I think there are other ref apps. I mean, I did a quick Google search while you were talking, and all I saw was the Referee Association. So great, you've got a great opportunity there, but you've got your work cut out, showing the total addressable market and how you'll get traction outside of your comfort zone if you want to raise beyond, angel investors that are in early.
Sure, really, really useful feedback. Thank you.
Anthony, thanks so much for that. I'd also mention as well that it's quite interesting with when capital or startups raise, they go, we're looking for X, and then they, and I don't necessarily suggest you put your financials in the first pitch, but we're going to lose 150 grand the first year, which we're raising, then we're going to lose 200,000 for the second year, or 400,000 third year, then we're going to make $1 million. And companies don't explain that they're going to need future funding. This is absolutely nothing against you, Ollie, here. This is a general comment, right? But when an investor looks at a company, they go, okay, fine. So you're raising 150 grand and you're going to lose 150 grand the first year. You're going to lose 400 grand the second year. So, okay, am I going to be diluted? Oh, then you're going to lose 600 grand and then you're going to make $1 million. And investors look at the financials and they say, Ollie, this has got nothing to do with you. This is just a comment of mine. And I look at, you know, so many pitch decks. It's like, yeah, we're losing this, we're losing that, we're losing that. Oh, then we're going to make money. Okay. Am I going to get diluted? Would be the investors element. Yeah. That's just a throw out. Sorry. Anybody want to make a comment on that? Then fine. But I suppose Anthony's probably the best one for that because he works through the, you know, pre-seed, seed, Series A, Series B, and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the difference between US and UK investors is in the US investors go, how much you need to own the world? Great, here's tons of money. And you see with, you know, Robinhood just raising $3.5 billion. In the UK, investors go, how little do you need for you to get to a path to profitability so that I don't have to keep getting diluted by more and more fundraising? So you've got a careful balance to try to find between, on the one hand, if you get to profitability too soon, the investors go, well, it's great, there's no new funding round, how do I ever get an exit? Whereas if you're bleeding cash as you go crazy, investors will say, well, my money is going to get used up as you build your B2C and your B2B and your data warehouse and you do APIs and you put it on the blockchain. This is all way too risky. So finding that right level of ambition and the right market size that is in tune with different stage investors is, I think, one of the key secrets to becoming, to getting investor interest. Or rather, investors will be interested, but you'll lose them if there's a misfit between the stage that they're at and you're showing that you'll get to the right level of ambition and the right cash burn and next raise. That was a short answer to quite a long problem space. Yep.
Anthony, that's fantastic. Dan, anything the final as we close up here?
No, without going into something else. No. Oh, actually, yeah, one final thing. You're the first person that's ever done to present that's got my surname in yours.
That is very true. That is very true.
Okay, folks, look, thanks very much. Look, I can't tell you how much I appreciate Anthony Rose's and, you know, your input for presenting, and also Dan. Going forward, we're doing, as I say, these limited workshops, which you want to try and keep probably a little bit shorter. The capital raising workshops run for roughly 2 hours. And again, the input from Anthony at SeedLegals, IP and Patent Partners, and also Dan Ballin from Ideas Crucible are invaluable for people looking at raising capital. They explain the whole idea of SEIS, patents, getting your pitch deck right and everything else. And that's what we're about. And then, as I say, we hold our events, which we've been holding in the city since 2017. Anthony always used to come to them in the good old days when we filled 100 people in a room. And hopefully we'll be back there soon. I don't see that realistically being probably till maybe September realistically, but in the meantime, virtual wise is great because we're attracting investors from around the world for startups and such like who can't attend events in London anyway, but can attend virtual pitch. So thanks very much. And we hope to see you at the next workshop, which I think is the 17th. If you look at exponential-events.com, you'll see them all. The only thing we charge for is an actual pitch in front of investors, which the SeedLegals company is a nominal £100. And we've raised capital over the last 3 years for a number of companies, and we look forward to doing more in the future. So thanks very much for everybody. Any way we can help, let me know.
And thanks for putting yourselves on the spot, and I hope it was valuable feedback. And looking at Georgina's traction.
It was, thank you very much, thank you.
I can see, indeed, yes. All right, I'm delighted. All right.
Anthony, thanks so much. Dan, thank you, and everybody else. Yeah.
Bye bye.
Thanks everybody.
Take care.
Nice
have a good day.
Bye.
Bye bye all.